Aloha, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Faith and Family First. I'm your host, Eva Andrade. I am here with Marcus Oshiro, and today's podcast is going to be really interesting because we're going to be talking about two court cases that are of interest to the faith-based community. The first one, we're going to be talking about First Choice versus Platkin, and that's about the pregnancy resource centers and what they provide. And the second one is going to be right here, state of Hawaii, Babylon B v. Lopez. So let's chat about that. Marcus, today's show is right up your alley.
Yeah, you know, I got up early this morning about 5:30, and I clicked on my phone, attached it to the Wi-Fi, and I attended a Supreme Court of the United States hearing live from Waihawa. Amazing technology.
No, I love this because we were able to watch a broadcast of the Pregnancy Resource Center life groups that have all come together.
Yes.
Because we wanted to hear their side of the story.
Yes.
But let's do this because we're talking about court cases today. So let's start with the reason the case happened, and then we can talk about the pregnancy resource centers. But I want to talk about the AG because it's the AG in New Jersey where this all started.
Yeah. So so back when Roe v. Wade was taken down in 2022, a group of state attorney generals took it upon themselves to advance the interests of the abortion centers or those who provide abortions. So they did that by providing information and disparaging information, incorrect information, unfactual information, but really going against these pregnancy centers, emergency pregnancy centers, like the ones we have here in Honolulu, several of them, that provide counseling services and alternatives.
Yeah, and while Marcus is talking about that, if you go to the hawaiifamilyforum.org website, right on the front page, you can click a link that has all of our pregnancy resource centers, because no matter what we talk about today, it's important that people listening and viewing take a moment to support the pregnancy resource centers. We simply could not do what we do without the heroic men and women that provide unbelievable services to women facing an unplanned pregnancy. So
this is a case that came out of New Jersey. New Jersey Attorney General came out, and really I think their idea there was to strike fear and strike against these crisis pregnancy centers in New Jersey. There's 5 of them. It's called the First Choice organization versus Patkin or whatever the term.
And they're a small pregnancy resource center.
They're small, and there's no denying, there is no hiding. They're a small Christian-based pregnancy center. I think there's 5 of them in the state of New Jersey. Small, not-for-profit, by donations only. No, I don't think any government monies goes there. Local,
and the government
federal.
in New Jersey has been very hostile to the Pregnancy Resource Center movement.
Yeah, they've been maddeningly so. I mean, almost fanatical to the point. But that's why I think this case is so important. So what happened there is that the Attorney General, under the guise, I said guise because I said, it's my opinion, that he wanted to look at whether or not fraud was being committed by one First Choice for its donors, whether donors are being deceived, that money is going to this pregnancy center was going to pay for abortion services, and that they were being induced by fraud to give this center money. Well, that's really absurd because, it's clear on its website.
You go to the website.
You read couple down, this is not, you don't go there to get abortion services. You go there to get non-abortion services.
And you know
counseling.
What? I'm a small nonprofit, Marcus, and I'm telling you that donors to small nonprofits, they will ask you directly if they think you're doing something that they don't agree with. They don't normally give money unless they do their homework.
Exactly. So what was really material that came out today in the United States Supreme Court hearing is that no complaints were ever filed with the Attorney General.
Zero.
No complaints.
Nada.
Of consumer protection. Zero.
Buffish.
Yeah. So.
That's a Portuguese word. Buffish.
Buffish. But anyway, nothing was. So there's no real, organic genesis for this idea coming from consumer protection or people being committed fraud. But the Attorney General on their own initiative decided to do this. So they subpoenaed the business records going back 10 years, focusing on the donors, the donor list of this organization, and also some background of employees, where they last worked, address, name, phone number, etc. Right?
And it came via subpoena, right? Wasn't it a subpoena?
Yeah, it wasn't a letter. It wasn't a letter. It was a subpoena. And subpoenas normally, to the layperson out there, that's serious.
Oh my
legal
God!
stuff. It's like getting when you get a citation from a police officer, that's pretty serious. It's not pieces of thin paper. That's a citation and summons. You're being summoned to attend to this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, drivers. This is serious stuff, right?
Yeah, you cannot throw it in the 360.
No, you get into trouble. Yeah, they'll catch up with you later. Don't worry. This is serious legal filing on a citation. Similarly, a subpoena is taken very seriously, especially for a layperson. You have to go attend to business at hand, produce these documents by such and such date. Failure to produce these documents, comply with subpoena. There are consequences. You can be taken to court, held in contempt of court, etc., yada, yada, yada. Serious stuff, okay?
So, which requires serious legal representation.
Yes.
So you know that if you have to hire an attorney, that you're going to be in debt forever. So can we give a shout out for like the Alliance Defending Freedom, the Beckett Fund, the ACLJ, the Pacific Justice Institute. I mean, we could list all of these groups
and there are like
Liberty Council.
There are like 36 different organizations that submitted amici or friend of the court briefs to side with one choice. I think there are 3 or 4 to side with the Attorney General from New Jersey. But what's interesting about it, we also had the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, also support the position of first choice.
Because they know that the ball swings both ways, right?
Because the issue wasn't so much whether it was a Christian organization or whether it was providing a place for women who have questions about their pregnancy or alternatives to abortion. They were concerned about this. How chilling the effect could be on a person's participation, association, affiliation with any organization if the state attorney general, can subpoena the records of the organization saying, I want to know who gives you the money, when they gave you the money, how much they gave you the money, and I want to know where those donors come from and where they live.
But Marcus,
and if I got something like that in the mail, if I got something like that I got a subpoena like that, and I belong to an organization, I would have to tell my donors, oh, by the way, I just got this subpoena from the Attorney General, and they're going to compel me to turn over your name, address, employer.
So how is Hawaii getting away with it? Because I, as a nonprofit, I have to submit my 990 to the Attorney General's office.
Okay, but your 990 is not asking you to list every
your schedule. What they tell you is we have to submit our entire 990, and then the schedule. I think it's schedule. Is it Schedule C? One of the schedules has the list of anybody who's given you more than $5,000, and that has name and address. But you have to submit it, but it's separate.
Wait, is this the federal government or
no? This is the Hawaii State AG. Yes, this is
State Department of Taxation.
No, this is the Hawaii State Attorney General's office.
Oh, there should be questions there, because that would definitely chill this is like issue of the case. Okay, it would actually. Well, there's several issues, procedural issues, but the issue I think that the Supreme Court justices, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to go way out there, prediction time.
Woo.
I think this is going to be a 7-2 or 9-0 decision.
Oh my God! If it's 9-0, I would be.
I think it's going to be a unanimous decision, just based upon
the questions,
the colloquy of
even Sotomayor. So how do you say her name?
Sotomayor I know Kagan and Jackson.
They
spot on. They went to the issue. Come on, Attorney General. Whether it's self-effectuating or non-self-effectuating as a subpoena. When a layperson gets a subpoena, it's a serious thing demanding you turn over certain information, attend to the business at hand, or there's consequences. Yeah. That's serious. That's going to compel someone to do something. Therefore, it's going to affect their speech,
and it would
affect their association relationship with the organization.
It would, and this was an interesting case too, because wasn't it at a lower level that this was beyond I was trying to understand it, but because it was a lower level, if they would have stayed it, then that would have made a major problem, which is why it ended up having to go to the Supreme Court. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, before it gets to the Supreme Court, it has to go through several processes. It has to start at the federal district court,
right? And
then you don't like the decision there, you take it, you appeal it, ask for changes to the appellate court. So they went from the district court in New Jersey, and then they didn't like the decision there, so they moved up to the appellate court in, I think, New Jersey, with the appeals court, and the appeals court sustained the district court. So from there, they had no place else to go but reply to the United States Supreme Court. And that's what they did.
So if the Supreme Court had rejected the case,
yes,
that would have been seriously bad.
What would have happened there is that they would have to go back to the district court, and the district court would probably send it back to the state court to say, we don't have jurisdiction, it's not right. But what they would lose there, the problem they would probably lose is that they'll probably lose their claim of a First Amendment violation, a constitutional amendment violation, if it went back to be resolved at the state court. Because the state court will only deal with the subpoena issue under the New Jersey law regarding the subpoena powers and what need to be turned in. And this case has been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. So they've been trying to work out, okay, what can be turned over, what we can't turn over, can we negotiate that? And that's the normal process when you have a subpoena.
And right now they're protected. They don't have to turn over any records right now.
Right. So there's a stay right now. But the idea is that, and I think the Supreme Court will say, at the minute a subpoena is served upon an individual and telling you turn over your donors, I give you 30 days to turn over your donors. That minute it goes there, it's already affecting you. You already are harmed by it, and it's already going to affect it's going to chill your speech or the speech of your donors and your freedom of association upon that. And that's what I think most of the Supreme Court justices will see, is that at a certain point in time, the harm, the damage, the danger arose when the subpoena was served. Attorney General was saying, no, it doesn't, because there's no compulsion, there's no sanctions, the court hasn't issued any fines or penalties. No, but you're already going to move upon it immediately. And you're going to tell your board of directors is going to tell your donors, oh my God, what are we going to do now, right? Because donors are not going to be giving generously if their name, rank, and serial number is going to be out there.
I've had many donors say they weren't going to give to HFF, not because they don't support what we do. Because, they give maybe small amounts, but they would never give us a good amount because it's this idea of their names being...
And the same principle of case was actually litigated back, I think, in the 70s, NAACP, National Advancement of African American Citizens. Way back when, it's like, you want to give over those lists of people supporting NAACP, given the time and day in the country and the prejudice and the cultural effects of you don't want to. Or
moving forward,
who's going to want to donate, right?
Yeah, Planned Parenthood, right? Can you imagine if they were going to release their donor?
They don't want to either. So that's why there's it affects all people and their right to association, freedom of speech, under the First Amendment. That's why it's such an important case.
Yeah, so they're actually representing all pregnancy resource centers and small nonprofits across the country, right?
Yeah, they are. It's a larger issue.
Yeah,
it's really a larger issue.
So where are we at with this? What's the timeline?
So probably by June of 2026, a decision will be made by the United States Supreme Court. And again, you heard it here first. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like a 7-9 decision or a unanimous decision.
I'm hoping for a 9-0. I'm hoping for a 9. Oh, but maybe 8-1. Maybe if there's always that one, right?
You want to bet? Oh.
No betting. I always lose on the bet. Okay, now let's come back to the beautiful state of Hawaii, and let's talk about this wonderful Babylon B v. Lopez.
Yeah, that's an interesting case. Can you refresh my recollection on what year that Senate measure was approved and signed into law by Governor Green?
That was a 2024, I think.
Yeah.
It was pretty current.
It was a Senate bill, right?
Yes, it was Senate Bill 2687.
2687, 2024. You can look it up on the www.capital.hawaii.gov website. You can look at the bill itself. You can look at the testimony.
Yeah,
you can actually get some of the video of the hearings.
And you know what? If I remember to do it, I will. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'll actually put the link to the bill on the bottom. And
I
can
remember
go
reading
ahead
about that bill, and I thought, wow, that's pretty expansive, somewhat vague, and somewhat overbroad because it wasn't geared to the feelings of elected public officials.
Yeah, so
you don't want to hurt their feelings.
It basically would punish anyone who posted certain political memes. Now, that's the thing that made it hilarious because
meme. What is a meme?
A meme is like when you do a cartoon of something and then it's humor.
Oh, it's humor.
It's humor. It's even reposting. That's how bad this bill is. It's even reposting somebody else's meme.
Like a meme
could mean punishment.
A meme
under
like
the law.
Okay, real crazy kind of far-fetched lampoon kind of meme, Mad Magazine kind of stuff.
Yep.
I mean, real ridiculous. Right? Obviously, it's lampoon, right?
Yeah,
it's like making fun.
And Babylon Bee. For those of you that read the Babylon Bee, know that everything that they do is satire.
Yes, it's total satire. It's like the definition of satire. It's like Exhibit A satire.
Exactly.
And they do such a great job because it's so absurd.
It's crazy. Yeah. So it basically ADF is taking up this case, and
Alliance Defending Freedom.
Yeah, Alliance Defending Freedom, and we do have a local plaintiff, which is Dawn O'Brien, which a lot of people know. Dawn O'Brien. Dawn O'Brien, the dawn of a beautiful day in the state of Hawaii. Yeah. Yes, our beautiful Dawn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she because Dawn, everybody who knows Dawn knows that Dawn posts all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's hilarious. She's larger than life, and I've already reached out to ADF, and we're going to have them on the show when they're ready to actually to talk more about the case. But because we're talking about censorship and religious freedom and all of this case brings it home because of Hawaii. And while you're giving your thoughts on this, I'm going to look it up because I want people to know who introduced the bill.
Well, I think introduction is deserved because you want to give credit where credit should be given. Mm-hmm. Or discredit in this
exactly
case.
And that's all I'm doing. I'm just reporting facts.
But the record is there, right? People have to vote for it. People can vote against it.
And I want to see because
and the governor at the end of the day signed into law thinking it was a good idea. In fact, the attorney general probably looked at it and said it's probably a good idea. But I'm sure that during the process, people probably
there was a lot
raised
of
questions about being constitutional.
There were
because clearly, I mean, come on, meme, being lampooned. Come on. Babylon B. Saturday Night Live. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why it's...
that's humor. Part and parcel of being a politician is developing a thick skin or at least appreciation for humor.
Yes, absolutely. And to me, it's like... when I was reading the information that Alliance Defending Freedom provides on their website, because people can go and look. The good thing about Alliance Defending Freedom is if you want to know what they're doing, you can see all of their submittals to the court.
Yeah.
They have their briefing to let you know what's happening with the case.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
They put it out there.
Yep.
Well, I think I'm glad that we have a local plaintiff, Dawn O'Brien, and I think she's being represented by the Alliance Defending Freedom, and I think there's an associate or a fellow who is this Sean Louise?
Is he on this one?
I think he is.
Is he on both?
I think he's local counsel. I think he's a local HSBA member, and he's co-counsel with someone else. ADF.
Oh, Marcus, okay. So I thought I remembered who the introducer was, but I didn't want to say it in case I was wrong. I was totally right. So introduced by Rhodes and McKelvey.
Well, that's. Yeah, well.
And it was signed on July 5th, 2024. It was Act 191.
Well, that's interesting because those two guys, as far as I know, they're pretty tough skin, They probably go at they can go and swing with the best of them out there. And, they're not, shrinking violets. You know what I mean?
They're absolutely not. And it's interesting because on the Senate, 24 ayes, 1 no. Senator Ava.
Wow. Yeah. I think if you're concerned about First Amendment rights, if you're concerned about the freedom to articulate your criticism against the elected officials who are voluntarily put into the public light, so their standards upon them are very different. I think that's an overreaction about memes and the force and effect of social media. But, hey, that's part of the deal. I mean, it goes back from the time of, Jefferson,
right.
and Adams, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's as old as, the country has been around. I mean, you're going to poke fun at politicians and the opposition.
Yep. Come on. I remember back Eisenhower and Nixon, and I was like small kid time.
No, I mean, so I think it's oversensitive. Maybe it's being overly sensitive, but I question the legitimacy of it. So the hearing tomorrow, is it on a motion for summary judgment, or is it I wasn't sure where they were. And a summary judgment motion would basically be the argument that there's no factual dispute or material facts in dispute, and that pursuant to law, the plaintiffs or the moving party for the summary judgment motion should prevail just by law.
Oh, well.
So there's two elements, right? There's no dispute of material facts, and by the law, existing law, they should prevail. And it's pretty high standard, because then it replaces the need to have a drawn out trial. And I think in this case is basically, this is the law, this is the idea behind it, this is the intention of the legislature, this is the effect upon Babylon B, and how it can chill, again, their speech, their First Amendment rights. And you have an affected party who has standing, a citizen,
right.
Dawn O'Brien.
Yeah. Oh, and she's such a good, everyone who knows Dawn knows that she's an amazing communicator. So,
and she's funny.
It was interesting.
She's entertaining.
It is interesting because, watching the process go through and first of all, I want to ask all of you to pray for Dawn, because it's not easy to be the plaintiff and to show up at court, and she has to be prepared at all times for a camera to be shoved in her face and to ask questions, and you have an attorney that's breathing down your neck to make sure that you don't say anything that could potentially harm the case. So she's under a lot of pressure right now, and the other thing too is I think that groups like the Alliance Defending Freedom, Liberty Counsel, Beckett Fund, Pacific Justice Institute. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm missing people, and it's not because I just don't know all of them, but I think that if you're a person that is asking yourself, 2025 is coming to an end and I want to do a donation that will really make a difference, then donate to one of these legal organizations, because they're doing it most of the time they charge nothing to the person they're representing. And I think that if you really want to invest in something that's going to make a huge impact, then you've got to do that. Of course, you can always donate to Hawaii Family Forum too. We're a 501c3, but that's only if you have a little bit left over. But
I'm gonna make a donation.
Marcus it's on the record. It's on the record. So Marcus, this so people are listening to this. It's the second week of December.
Yes.
And when we come in to do our final 2 shows, it's going to be very Christmassy. We're going to have a Christmas theme, and
I'm going to have a Christmas aloha shirt on.
We will, and we want to make sure that you stay plugged in, because we've got a lot of the wonderful things we want to do for 2026, but we can't do it without you. So we want you to partner with us as we do this. But Marcus, what's the call to action on these 2 court cases? If people want to go back, can they still listen to all of these arguments that have taken place?
I think the first choice case is illustrative of the thinking behind the Supreme Court justices. It's well worth an hour and a half. It's free. It's on the internet. You go to the Supreme Court.
It's on YouTube. I saw it was on YouTube.
You can go to YouTube. You can go, First Choice v. New Jersey Attorney General. It'll pop up. It's good stuff. You can listen to it. It's understandable for the most part. There's some legal jargon inside there, but the gist of it is like, hey, come on. Your government attorney general, highest law enforcement officer in the state of Hawaii, or state of your state, issues a subpoena for you to turn over certain information, your donors list. You're going to comply, or you're going to tell your donors and
come visit me in jail. That's what I'm going to be saying.
No one wants that information disclosed. So I think it's very telling. You'll get your hunches from hearing the questions that the Supreme Court justices ask, and both the so-called liberal members and so-called conservative members raise the same concern, which is the beautiful thing I like about the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not D, it's not art, it's the law, it's the law. And I appreciate that.
All right. Well, what you can do is make sure you like this video, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know every time we upload a new video. And Marcus and I are going to be meeting in the next couple of weeks to really make a hefty plan for 2026 so that the shows are more interesting. What I'd really love to do, and I'd love your thoughts on this, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, then type in the comments below. I want to get a Marcus Reacts video where I want to pull some court stuff, maybe things happening in court, and kind of play it for you and get your reaction live. Live as it is, you know what I mean? But, and not only that, on some of these memes, because, it would be great for us to look at some of these memes that could be problematic, and get our opinions. So if you have other ideas, comment below. But in the meantime, we will see all of you next week. Mahalo, everybody.